All right, let's talk a little Houston Texans football. You saw it by the title. The Texans had kind of a glaring problem this year, but I'm here to tell you why I think they may have already fixed it. The Houston Texans really struggled to run the football. They really did. And I think you can fix the run in a number of different ways, but I'm going to give you some statistical evidence that shows that next year they are going to be better even if they didn't do a thing. Because I did a recent video talking about all your cap space, talking about how you won a trade where you still get a first-round pick and you still have Will Anderson and all these different things I talked about, right? And so basically, the only way I guess I can run it back to that is I got a ton of responses talking about how, no, we need offensive linemen. And I'm not going to necessarily disagree with you on that. I do think you could use some help on the offensive line, but I think you have three pieces that are pretty much good to go already. And then you can decide what to do with the other two. But here's why I think there's hope for your running game. I was on Twitter, and John Crumpler reposted this, or may have actually just put it. He said, something to consider how Texans fix their run game. Year 1 versus year 2 splits for that scheme. Shanahan, in year 1, 4.1 yards per carry. That was year 2017. Year 2, it went up by 0.4 yards per carry. All right, Green Bay, LaFleur, 4.4 yards per carry to 4.8 yards per carry. Both of those years, they had Aaron Jones, by the way. In Miami, McDaniel, 4.3 to 5.1. And you wouldn't argue that there was any improvements. All right, yes, I understand they had some extra talent, but Devon Achane barely played enough to affect it that much. It was just still Mostert doing the majority of the carries. So what we see is teams improve 0.4 to 0.8 yards. Let's even just say 0.5 to be safe with all of this. So I started doing some more research. And this is where you can see the Houston Texans. This is on StatMuse. Stats by rush yards per game. And we see the very first game here of the Texans seasons. And what I'm looking at more than total yards, because they committed to the run, is yards per attempt. And it started with 2.6, 3.1, 2.0, 3.3, 3.7 yards per carry, 2.8. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is really bad. Let's keep going. 2.8, 3.9. Okay, all right, New Orleans, there was some decent running there. Still ran the ball 31 times. All right, when they ran the ball with any success, they ran it like crazy. Then they go 3.1. And then all of a sudden against Cincinnati, they started to figure some stuff out. And all of a sudden, the outliers are the games that they didn't run for more yards per carry. 5.5, 4.4, 5.1. Here's the outlier. It's Denver. All right, it's Denver. 3.0. 4.3, 4.6, 4.5, 4.0. And then to end the year, another outlier at 2.1. So, based on the first half to second half, in the second half of the year, they averaged well over 4 yards per carry. Houston Texans on the season averaged 3.7 yards per carry. That's not good. It's not good at all. They ran for almost 100 yards a game, so they're still getting close to that 100-yard area, which is great, but they only ran 3.7, so they were committed to the run. Applaud Bobby Slowick for that, because that's what helps your young quarterback play action. That's kind of one of the staples of this offense. But the running game wasn't good. It was 3.7. But I'm telling you right now, if all you do is run like you did in the second half of the year, you're going to have a 0.4 yards per carry or 0.5 yards per carry improvement already. So if you kept everything as is, which they won't, you are going to be over 4 yards per carry next year. It is simply people getting used to this type of zone or whatever run scheme that you are running. It's just getting people used to it. Then you go in here and you start realizing, as we look at this, Tytus Howard was out for the year. All right? Scruggs is going to be better. He's going to be better. He just flat out is. All right? Tunsil, is good to go. All right? Scruggs, like I said, will only get better. Shaq Mason, he's your guy. right? He's a good, not great guard, has the ability to do some things that are great. But Tytus Howard, you have two options with him. Move him back to right tackle or find an upgrade, right? Move him back to right tackle or find an upgrade. With his contract, I would suggest moving him back to right tackle. But I was looking at his splits. This year, he was atrocious on PFF. I'm just going to read some numbers for you. He played 408 snaps, all of them at left guard, with an offensive PFF grade of 46.8. It's really bad. Yeah, it's really bad. But last year was by far his best year. In fact, his two worst years by far are at left guard. He's at his best when he's at right tackle. He was a 69 or a 67.9 grade on PFF, and I'm not saying that's great, right? He only allowed 3 sacks last year. He only allowed 3 sacks. Not this year, like the one we just finished, but the year before that, 2022. He allowed 30 hurries. That's heavy, but he's never been a guy who's allowed a ton of sacks. So if you put him back at right guard, you might have your solution. You might be there. All right. And I think that's something that is worth at least talking about. All right. You have guys like Kendrick Green, who is still young. He's still raw at guard. Like, he might be able to come in and improve if he just continues his, progression. He was a 52.4 in 2021. He was a 59 rating this year. And here's the thing, PFF isn't perfect, and I understand that, especially when you're talking about cornerback play. However, offensive line, the things that you will see by PFF are about as close as it can get because it's one of the easier things to do, especially pass blocking. You had a guy to pass block. Did you block him? Right? And I understand sometimes you can pick up the wrong guy, you can do the wrong thing, and all that kind of stuff. But PFF is most accurate when it comes to that. Again, I'm going to remind you, 3.7 yards per carry. That wasn't good. This is historically what happens. This is the scheme. This is the system that Bobby Slowick is coming out of. Expect that number, even if you did nothing, to be closer to that 4.3 yards per carry. After having your offense do what it did at 3.7, imagine what it could do at 4.3. Are you kidding me? All right, the San Francisco 49ers, known for running the ball well, because of what they do, right? They were 4.5 in their second year. It didn't start all roses there with Shanahan. But this is a system that eventually learns how to run the ball well. Part of it's players adjusting. Part of it's getting the right players there. All right? I don't know about you, but I trust the people in charge in Houston to get it done. All right? To find the right players. I really do. I do. And that's exciting to see. So that's your big problem. Maybe part of it's already fixed. I'm sure we'll talk about that and many other things as we continue. Thanks for watching. Hey, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Why not? We want to be your go-to source for Texans. See ya.